What's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome back to Keeping It Real with TNL. I'm Coach Lori here with Coach Ty, and today's episode is about Oprah and the obesity gene discussion.
Oh man, I can't wait to dive into this one. I'll be honest with you guys. Lori was the one who told me all about this, and I had to go and watch the episode that she mentioned, as well as a few other things, and I was almost blown away at the lies that were being told. But before we dive into that, what we're going to be going over is number one, this weekend for our members here in CrossFit San Ramon, we are having a huge potluck to celebrate Coach Tim's birthday, as well as some of the holiday stuff because we didn't have a holiday party. We're going to be doing all of that in one this weekend. And we also just heard that Coach Christian is also going to be here with us. It's also his birthday. I think that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Coach's birthdays. We're going to have a great workout. There's going to be a potluck. It's going to be an amazing time. That's going to be 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock here at CrossFit San Ramon. Bring something to share and enjoy hanging out and catching up with everyone.
I love it. I'm going to bring the MetFix daily fix recipe, the chili that everyone loves, a batch. And then I'm going to make the ketogenic brownie, but like a cake. So I'll have an almond cake and then a chocolate cake, and they're both ketogenic. So we'll keep you out of the obesity environment that you were worried about from a Republican time. Don't choke, sorry. Okay, but it's going to be a great time. We can't wait to see everyone and get caught up, and we miss a lot of people over the holidays. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So that said, guys, we're going to dive right in. Let's talk about it. The obesity gene. So what does this mean for somebody who's obese? Let me see if I got this right. Oprah was on The View. She stated, you don't overeat and become obese. Obesity is basically, that's what causes you to overeat. And she's basically saying that you are born with something in you that causes you to eat these foods and keep on this weight and put on these pounds. So this is a tough one for anybody who watches what me and Lori have been putting out this past year. That basically contradicts everything that we've said, because last time we checked, those things were under your control, just like it's been under our control, and we clearly figured it out. But so Oprah now understands that if someone has the obesity gene, that they could attribute that to their overeating, meaning that genetic and biological factors influence appetite and weight, not just your personal choices. So what are we doing here with this?
Well, okay. So let's just talk about what we know to be true when it comes to obesity. I can got my glasses on for this, so I can read and not miss a beat. How foods work in the body, and also genetic markers that could make losing weight harder for some. So we're going to look at all the different angles of this, right? Because there is not like ApoE for saturated fat issues is a genetic marker. There's not like a FATGENE for an obesity gene, right? There's not something like that. So let's start at the beginning, and we'll start with the Ross hypothesis, right? We talk about this a lot, that what we eat 100% affects our ability to feel full or never feel full, both sides of it, right? Create ATP for energy at the cellular level. So that Krebs cycle, what you put into, it's going to help make energy, or it's going to cause more problems in the body. Trying to manage glucose and making more stored fat. So again, what you eat will either contribute to fat storage or pull from stored fat for more fuel, right? And then lastly, what we eat will let us live in a way that we don't need carbs to create energy and metabolic flexibility, right? What we've been talking about, well, forever, like the whole podcast, episode 55. So it's important that we talk about these things, and we'll break it down one by one, because facts are facts, and how people live and what they eat and what they do affects how they look and how they live. So, okay. That being said, it's on to you, because I broke it down.
Yeah. No. So even in the face of incorrect nutrition advice for 50 plus years, we know the truth around food. And you could even watch the shifts in obesity rise as ultra processed foods were introduced.
Yeah.
Candy, sugar, flour, fast food, TV dinners, microwavable dinners, chips, junk foods, soda. We clearly know that if I wanted to cause obesity, that those would be the items in my toolbox. I'd up around with that and be like, this is what causes that.
Yes.
Clearly. And so it was kind of funny because me and Lori had watched an episode. It was from the Oprah podcast, where the person who wrote the Enough book actually says this. She goes on to say that ultra processed foods, lack of physical activity, stress, and lack of sleep is what causes obesity. So if you're going to say that, how can you backtrack and then say, but it's also a gene that you're predisposed to and that you don't have any control over it? We all clearly know if that was the case, I was probably born with that gene because my whole life I was obese. And if you look down the line of my whole entire family, you'll see the same thing. Nothing but fat people.
Yeah.
So
Well, you and I've lived it.
this is, yes.
It's not
Yes.
like I wasn't literally 105 pounds heavier than I am now for a good portion of my adult life, right? And then you've lost over 200 pounds and kept it off for over a decade. So were you genetically born to be fat? Or did you just stop the eating habits that you were raised with and given at school? Like, these are the questions, right?
Exactly.
And yeah.
And so, like I said, this is how come I completely love it. Hold on, I'm gonna off script just a little bit. But this is exactly how come I love having these conversations with Lori, because it is very hard to find individuals who've actually walked it instead of using excuses to justify not going on the lifetime path. Because that's the only way that you're going to get anything done. I don't even understand, because this only comes up in dieting and eating right. This is the only thing where people think that I could do it for a certain amount of time and then I get to stop. That would be like you saying, well, if I work hard on my job for 4 years, then I should still I should still get paid for the next 6 after that. No, you still have to show up every day and do the same job that needs to be done if you want to keep getting paid. If you want to stay fit and stay healthy, you're going to have to keep doing the same things that got you there. And if you don't want that, then you clearly know what to do. It's the opposite of that. That's where most people are. So, yes. So what's true for us is true for everyone we've worked with to lose weight. And I say that's the other thing that kind of separates us from most, is that we've actually had to work with clients who have come to us with some of these thoughts, thinking that they were predisposed to being fat. I've tried everything, Lori.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing works. I've heard that too. And then we obviously find out what their breakfast is, and it's like, well, we clearly see the first red flag that we need to handle. I remember we always bring up Tyler and how you kind of switched him around and changed the fits to him.
Breakfast. It's like 90 grams of sugar in the morning means what? What are you doing all day? You're managing that glucose. You're trying to create the energy, burn through it, and what you can't use, you store as fat. So then you're never going to get to the stored fat, right?
Exactly.
One meal changed the trajectory of his weight in his life.
Just like that. And I
Start of the day. That
remember,
was it.
yeah, it was literally because that was all that you had told him too. Because I remember hearing everything that he had eaten. He had laid out his whole entire usual day, and you were like, dude, just switch that. You didn't even tell him to not go and get the fast food on his lunch that he sometimes had mentioned.
No, we got to change breakfast.
And you're like, just switch there. And he saw what, almost like 6 pounds week one, something like that, which was a huge number. So clearly, most of our clients struggle with the excessive fruit, the sugary drinks, the treats, the rice, the pastas, the breads, all those things. And like we said, that is what truly has been shown to drive obesity. And you're not going to feel full or stop eating if those are the foods that you are consuming, because they don't give you the signal that you need.
Facts. And that's hard, because then those are the people that are like, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight and I'm always hungry.
Absolutely. And so, like I said, it's just tough, because when the information that somebody like in Oprah or people who write these books and they're put into these powers, we tend to think, oh, well, clearly somebody put them up here, so they must be right. And it's scary to see that this is what they're trying to tell you guys. They are trying to tell you, no, you need these GLP-1s or you won't lose weight, because this is the only way. And they're saying that the only reason it's the only way is because you were born this way. That just that alone should get you kind of fired up. Like, you're going to use this justification to put your drug onto people. That's not cool.
It's not. That's frustrating. So personal feelings aside, because I always say, fuck your feelings, because the world doesn't run off people's feelings. So I'm not going to get lost in my feelings of frustration. And I'm going to point out that within this talk, nobody's discounting emotional eating, food noise, which is like this new sexy term. It's like a new emoji on an iPhone. Everybody uses food noise now, which we'll talk about. And addiction. Now that the food pyramid is correct, maybe sugar will fall into the addictive substances, because before it used to be in the pyramid as something that was an essential nutrient. Wow. So people that are full-blown sugar addicts no different than a sex addict or a gambling addict, couldn't be labeled as such because of the shitty food pyramid that was ridiculous up until a few weeks ago. So more facts on that, right? There's no obesity gene. I'll say it again. You're not destined to be fat because a lot of people in your family are fat. It's how you eat. It's how you live. When I'm teaching nutrition at Chabot College, I do that a couple times a year, and it's to young moms and dads that are trying to get back into school, or socioeconomic states that have got money to go to school now and get help. There's generational misunderstandings of nutrition, and we know that that's rampant because people really are upset about the food pyramid. They have no idea what they're eating or why the faster they cut out red meat and go high carb, their health tanks. They don't know, but we're trying to help you know. So I could have easily stayed on pastas and cheese and pizza and all the Italian food and then Filipino food from my uncle that I loved, and just been 300 pounds, and maybe I wouldn't have stopped at 235, right? But it wasn't from a genetic mutation or marker. It was just how we lived. It was the fucking parties. The emotional eating. Food was like, if I was sad, I'd eat. If I was excited, happy birthday, eat. Like we make these associations and connections. And that's stuff that that's like what psychiatrists and psychologists are there to help you with, talking through things, learning what triggers this need for food. But most importantly, knowing that once you eat a cupcake, as an example, at the cellular level, you're never going to, your body's not going to signal that you're full. So you're going to eat more of what you don't need, and maybe even more food total. Even if you didn't, maybe you binge on a chicken Caesar salad. At least you got some protein in, but you overate and you kept eating. And then you're super hungry again within a few hours. So then you eat more. So then you gain weight. And then you're obese because no doctor, not one, because they're not trained in it, told you what to eat to be healthy, to get full, and to know that you don't need to depend on glucose for energy and even glycogen storage, right? You've missed all of this. And that is what we have to talk about today. Like metabolic flexibility, being ketogenic.
Absolutely.
Look at CrossFit athletes that are ketogenic. They're fucking CrossFit athletes. I'm not going to have any energy if I don't get in my 200 grams of carbs a day. Cool story, bro. You just haven't become metabolically flexible yet. You can go in and out of using glucose and ketones for fuel, but you first have to like scale back the inordinate amounts of carb loading that we see even high school athletes do for football, right? Like, no. So we're going to get into more of that, but we'll talk about genetics now for a minute. We have a couple of gene markers, SNPs, right? Because as you know, we can run DNA test here across the CrossFit Metfix method. As a practitioner of Designs for Health, the spotlight tests are quite helpful. And that's where you can really see if you have these genes that are trending right now or anything like that. Because I'm grateful for the awareness because it is important because how you live determines if your genes express themselves, right? So let's get into it. Take us through the FTO gene.
All right, guys. So first things off, this is the FTO. This is going to be fat mass and obesity associated.
Yeah.
What is it? A well-studied variant with the FTO gene that is strongly associated with higher body fat, BMI, and obesity risk. The effect on body composition. Individuals with one or two copies of this risk allele tend to have a higher body fat and lower lean mass and are more prone to weight gain, especially without adequate physical activity. So once again, it's almost like that has to be put in there first as blah, blah, blah. This causes this, but it's more shown or more pronounced without adequate physical activity. So a sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we've already given you every episode to watch about how to get yourself active. So that should be the first part of clearing out that. But why this matters is this S&P is one of the most replicated genetic markers for increased body fat and difficulty controlling body weight, making managing healthy body composition harder. So I still feel, like I said,
how you living?
Exactly. So you now, let's say that I have this FTO gene, because if you looked at how I used to look and live, you could probably say that maybe I did. That being said, once I changed and got off the carbs, cut back on the sugar, and made physical activity a priority, I don't have these things. I don't have a low lean mass and high body fat anymore. I'm not prone to up and down yo-yos in my weight. I've probably been the same. Actually, I've been the same weight for literally, I want to say the past year now, and that's just based off of my scan results.
Yep.
In the same hand, I'm not trying to lose or gain. I'm not going up and down anymore. I found a good homeostasis where I feel amazing every day. And so that usually comes by getting in that physical activity and controlling the carbs and the sugar, like we always said.
Yeah.
We're going to get on to the next one.
Yeah. So this is a great place to point out, like, some people don't want to do genetic testing, and there's some just for cancer. Some people are like so focused on the stats and the odds and percentages without really knowing what that translates to in numbers outside of percentages. Like my social media people, if one friend adds you in a month after nobody added you previous, that's 100% increase in friend adds. But it's one. So the math is fuzzy with that, and people get really flipped out, right? Like it's the best way I know how to make that accessible without the broken science class on understanding stats and numbers, which is brilliant. Anyone can take it. So I run my gene. I'm like, fuck, I have all these things. Oh my god! And then you almost worry about it more because you don't understand epigenetics, which we'll get to after the second discussion. That how you live controls the expression of your DNA. Doesn't change it. You might have found on the COVID shot that there is some alternation to the mRNA, the DNA. After they said it didn't, then they said it did. But you can watch your own congressional hearing on that science. That's on you. Gene will express itself when you give it reason to. How about that?
Let's say that.
But hey, that hornet's nest is a threat to me. But when it really becomes a threat is when I'm like, and the air dart goes in and they're all coming after me, right?
That's a great.
So you like that?
That's a great.
That's pretty cool. I just came up with that like instantly, as a matter of fact. It must be the ketones. Sharp brain. Okay, so let's look at another gene. PPARG. It's a variant affecting a nuclear receptor that regulates fat cell differentiation, fat storage, and insulin sensitivity. I love this one too because we know that insulin resistance means your cells are losing their sensitivity to insulin, right? So we want our cells to be sensitive to it. So the pancreas does the minimal amount of work to create those B cells to go in and manage your glucose, and we're not stressing our organs. So losing insulin sensitivity is hardcore. But we know what causes that.
Exactly.
High carbs.
And so that's what I completely love is that for every so-called gene, it's almost like, okay, we know how to that is just this just exacerbates the symptom. And there's a way there's a cause to stop it.
Yeah.
Every single one of these, like, okay, this is just exacerbating it. Sorry, let's just say pouring gas on it, and this is how you don't do that. And it's very clear. Like this is why I'm like you, where I get upset when I hear people try to use science in a way to justify their laziness or their lack of wanting.
Pushing another medication to bring in billions.
Yes.
And not talk about risk. Yes.
Hell, this is literally what broken science is all about, because now this is what keeps them in business. More
there's no shortage of broken science.
Yeah. More freaking broken science coming out from shows like The View or like the Oprah podcast, where they're making these claims and these statements which we've proven and argued time and time again. It's not real. It's not. There are people who just choose to take it seriously and people who choose to don't. Me and Lori joke about it. It's like church. There's a big difference between believing in God and walking with God. They're not the same.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So this allele, there's a couple of alleles, Pro12, genotype, and ALA12, are linked to differences in fat storage, metabolic flexibility, which we know is huge, and just storage of fat, right? When we're having too much fat, our body can't use it to make fuel because we're not flexible. And there's that lipotoxicity as well. All these different things come into play. But again, it's like what's going in here that makes that happen or not happen. It matters because it plays a central role in adipose tissue biology. Variants can predispose individuals to less favorable fat distribution or insulin responses, which is insulin resistant. And we know that, God, with any luck, I'm going to put it from my lips to God's ears, as the HHS is doing great things for everyone's health and longevity. Let's bring back fasting insulin and C-reactive protein as mandatory annual blood check markers for people. Because then I have to send people to a lab online to get what used to be basic, to just see where they're at is an absolute travesty. And so, yeah. Okay.
So
it's an interesting one. Yeah.
It is. It obviously is an interesting one. And me and you know how vital the metabolic flexibility is. But again, does your living affect this gene's expression? Here are a few important notes on the genes that we talked about. Number one, these examples above are all well-studied SNPs known to influence obesity-related physiology, and they are often included in genetic panels used clinically to interpret risk for body composition and metabolic traits. These gene expression is modifiable, and that's the key term here. Even with risk alleles, lifestyle factors like diet quality, physical activity, sleep, and stress management can substantially influence the phenotypic outcomes.
Yeah.
And so I almost feel like me and you keep beating this dead horse, but it is true. Like I freaking hate the only reason that I want to keep saying it is that people finally get it and stop focusing so much on I have this and using that as the excuse as opposed to trying to do just for 4 weeks. Try to actually watch the carbs. Try to get more physical activity. Try to actually control your sleep, manage your stress. Just put some effort into that and see the change. Even at this gym, I had a conversation with somebody recently last week who I respect, but they were like that they had said something like, well, you guys don't see what I see in my daily life. And I was like, what are you like? I didn't want to call her out because of what she does, but in my mind I was like, dude, that's fucking horseshit. I don't care what you see. None of those people live the way that me and Lori do. So I know for a fact what the thing that's causing everything that you're saying is this exact thing here. Yeah. People refusing to accept that this is how they have to live their life if they want health. If you don't want health, then don't worry about it. Continue to eat like shit. Continue to eat the sugary food. Continue to stuff your face with bread. Don't work out. Stay in the house. Don't exercise. Basically, just go back to COVID living. Because that's what leads to obesity. That's what leads to problems, which is why they put you guys in that state to begin with, because that's what it causes you to become out of shape and to lose your mental clarity. But that said,
it's true because it's all linked. Like your stomach is your second brain. Exactly. So when you're in a state of total dysbiosis in the gut, your mental health starts circling the drain too. Exactly. Right? Whether you have the MTHFR gene or not, whether you need methylated B vitamins and P5P to function normally, like that's immaterial because if you're constantly putting the wrong stuff in here, the cravings and the food noise come from dysbiosis and the habits that have led you to be unhealthy and obese. And the thing is this, like, at least we've broken from morbidly obese, famous people saying that being fat is sexy and they love it because then Lizzo would have gone on GLP-1s, right?
Absolutely.
All these people that like, but the problem is, why are you fat shaming people to begin with? Like, nobody really looks at like the root problem. Like, okay, so I want to lose weight because I'm tired of being fat. Why are you tired of being fat? Because I don't like hurting all the time and I want to play with my kids and I'm tired of being made fun of and everyone on TV looks like a coat hanger with a dress on. Like, I want to be like everyone else. Okay, well, let's unwind this. Like, what causes you to feel like you can't lose weight? Because I'm always hungry, I'm never full, I have no energy. And then we get to the root cause of what they're eating. And then we do a mindset shift, right? Because you have to shift the mindset. And again, like, what if what if all of a sudden, I'm sure someone's going to come up with a fake obesity gene next 2 years. Like the combination of these three mean you're going to be fat forever unless you take a GLP-1. Bullshit. Because the GLP-1 mimics ketogenic state in the body. Then all you need to do is go ketogenic to lose the weight because you're doing that very thing. You're just not eating.
And you're almost
overeating. And it turns out the food noise because the food sits in your gut for like 4 days. Crazy. What's stomach cancer going to look like in 5 years? We don't know, but we're going to find out because thyroid cancer went up super fast in the last 2 years from that. But my point is this. If we didn't pump out shit food and processed food to drive the industry that is the food industry, which makes the medical industry rich from the food, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Yeah, why do you think it's called the FDA? Food and drugs.
Yeah, like seriously.
For both of them. They're obviously working as a team. Yeah. And like I said, this is one of those things that, as I joke, like, if you're talking to me as a CEO, I think that what they did is amazing.
Brilliant.
They've literally laid out a plan to keep people hooked for their whole entire lives on both of their products. Here's your food that's going to make you sick. So in freaking 25 years, when you're a grown up, we could give you the next thing that you need, and you'll continue to pay us until you die, even though we're the ones who are killing you. And you're going to make our families very, very rich, and we're going to be just fine because we know the truth. But you guys are going to stay in the wish wash. It's so funny too. I usually don't watch television. I found myself, we were watching something on Peacock recently, and because I don't watch TV, I don't pay for the premium, so I had to watch ads.
Oh.
Every single ad started out with, "You have eczema. This is what. Have you ever been overweight?" I can't believe how they literally allow them to pump this stuff into our houses. I'm having a conversation with my girlfriend, and someone's on the screen talking about eczema and all of the diseases and all these things. This whole entire system that they have, it is as a businessman, I love it. But as a human who obviously found the way to navigate it, it's a fucking trap.
It is.
And you got to find your way out. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in it, and you're going to be justifying to yourself this type of nonsense. Like, well, I don't have a choice. I'm obviously stuck this way, so I'm not going to actually try to work out, eat right, and actually try to change. I'll just take the shot, lose the weight, so I could tell everyone I weigh this, my clothes fit, I'm fine. Not knowing that you don't have health, you don't have mental clarity, and you don't have strength, and you're killing yourself from the inside.
Being thin doesn't mean you're healthy.
Exactly. That's the
other thing.
The other thing.
You're just kind of like, okay, so let's rewind, and let's pretend I didn't take what I learned through the MetFix seminar, which was like the biggest piece of the puzzle that was missing, right? We were talking about, we're just like mind-blowing shit that you can understand. And let's say, even in the face of that, I was like, you know what? I feel like spending $1,500 a month on a diabetic drug because it's not covered because I'm not diabetic. And I just want to lose like 30 pounds super fast, which I did for free. But let's say I did it, right? I was like, that's not just my testosterone for my hormone replacement, but I'm like all day, like just shooting up, dude. I should go to the city and do the fit, and right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But, and then I did that. And then we get on the Staiku, and you're like, Lori, you lost 30 pounds, and 16 of that was muscle.
Whoa, that's bad.
That would be
terrible. This is so. I know that you recently saw.
Yeah, it's just like
where this basically happened. We're going to name it.
It's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I'm going to give you this drug, and it's great. Some people that are too heavy to move or get up off the couch, help them get that weight off, but they should be standing up, sitting down. They should be walking around the living room. They should be eating proteins and fats and minimizing carbs other than leafy greens. Eat meats and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some starch, little fruit, no sugar, no seed oils. But no one's giving them this information. So then they come to me and they're like beginning stages of osteoporosis in their 40s, or complete sarcopenia, muscle wasting. Or could you imagine what I'd look like in your barbell class?
No,
These past 6 months, if I just was like GLP-1 because I was tired of being fat, because nobody's tired of being fat. Everybody's tired of being fat. But it just takes a few tweaks and some love for yourself to want to make it through life and have a good life, to be your driving force, because nobody works harder or is more tired than I am running 2 businesses. No. And my kid's a senior. Like, I'm fucking busy. Am I hanging out?
No.
No.
I don't go to parties, but I'm assuming that you don't party either.
No. I mean, I went to CrossFit, but I ate food there and do any of that. Celebrating his birthday, but I'm not eating there. I ate dinner before there.
So you obviously planned ahead and made
I had a good fucking time. And then, like, when Get Low came on, I was the first one down, ass to the floor, bouncing around, because I got muscle and I'm strong and I like to dance.
It's crazy because you're right. And
I'm like 49. It's
freaking couldn't imagine you taking a GLP-1 and pulling off some of your numbers in barbell, or just
none of them.
Like I said, I'm not gonna hit on you on camera, but even like your legs and your ass, it wouldn't be here. Everything would be gone. And there'd be nothing. So that's how I
muscle. I just got my first size 07 for All Mankind jeans. Remember I told you? So it's not like being strong and lean means I'm bulky and in a big size of clothing.
You just got smaller, way smaller.
Yeah.
What were you at the start of last year?
Oh, like a 8.
Okay, so and now we're into 0, and then that's with no GLP-1. That's with working out and eating meat and
and just work. Here's the thing, like in all things, because women, like we get it in our head that we have to look a certain way, and most of women want to look good and be petty with other women. I just don't want to be made fun of. That's all. Please don't shit talk me. Like 95% of my life has been. I get tired of that. I'm tired of that. And I'm tired of feeling like tired shit because I'm not creating energy all day and I'm heavy and I can't run. Dude, now I do the high rocks classes and I run 2 miles in a class with some uphill. And I think 10 seconds on the hill 600 climb, I stopped because my calf was tight. I was like, hit my calf of walking. So, and I don't run. That's the most I've ran in 2 years. But it's not even hard. I can hold zone 5 for like 3 fucking minutes now. We're cussing a lot on this one because we're emotionally charged. It's okay. Don't let your kids watch it or do. Whatever. But the point is this, like, I'm that example for you. There are no fillers in my cheeks. There's no Botox in my face. There's no fucking teeth thing. I am lucky with the beautifully straight teeth, but the white because I brush them. That's that. I cover up my grays, but I'm back to my natural hair color, right? I'm not even blonde anymore. Like, I want people to know that you can do it without spending tens of thousands on surgery, shots, and crazy. And you can enjoy the food you're eating. It's fucking delicious. Yeah. People love coming over to my house for dinner every time. They're just like, God, this is good. And I'm like, you just ate the healthiest meal you've probably had all year. And that's the thing. Like, it's not impossible. And what did I say? I don't think I'll ever get under 160 again. I think I'm just the weight I'm stuck at. I'm just like stuck.
I remember all
No.
the talks.
And I have that ApoE gene that makes eating and managing saturated fat difficult. So for all of my life up until recently, I was like, I can't be ketogenic. It makes me sick when I eat a lot of fat.
Let's
150 grams of fat a day.
That. Okay, so
so it's like, once you get out of metabolic dysfunction, this is it. I'm going to give you the secret to not being obese, not feeling fat, not feeling uncomfortable in your skin, and not being able to do all the physical things you want to do. Once you put in the work to get out of metabolic dysfunction, so you're not insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, diabetic, even the thyroid issues, even the autoimmune issues that come from metabolic dysfunction get rolled back. Maybe you take digestive enzymes with your food to help your body learn to break it down, because you're going from shit food you could eat a ton of all day to like real food, and your body's like, whoa, what is happening? Whatever it is. Like, you make that switch, and then it's like clockwork. Like, what comes after midnight? What comes after 1, 2? Like, you never have to question where you're going on this journey because you are feeding your body real food. It is quite delicious. If you don't believe me, come into my next cooking class and eat what I make. And you'll be like, and you made it in the middle of the gym. That's busted. I love this right now. It's so easy, but you just have to do it. And yeah, you do have to let go of the shit food for the time it takes to get out of metabolic dysfunction.
That's that right there. That's the key. Everything that Lori said is absolutely accurate, but I feel that is what truly stops most people from never breaking through the door or the wall into becoming metabolic or getting out of metabolic dysfunction.
Yeah.
Is that they don't stay on it as consistent and long enough that they need to see some results. Yeah. So this is how come this actually kind of brings me back to what I was saying. The individual that had mentioned that the stuff that we say, it's that they question it because she knows people who eats like that, and then it's hard for them to use the bathroom and do all these other things. And I'm like, dude, here's the absolute truth. If they were doing it right every day for 90 days, that wouldn't happen. That's how I know. And I know that most people don't have the willpower or the discipline to control themselves for 90 days from doing anything. And they usually never make it long enough to see what that life even looks like outside of that. And that's how come there's all of this problem, is because the people who are talking about it, about how it fucking doesn't work, are the people who have never been on the road long enough to actually see the change. And because we live in the world where if it's not within a week or 2 weeks, it's done. This isn't worth it anymore. It's like, are you serious? It's been 14 days. There's 365 days in an entire year, and you couldn't hold yourself under control for 14 of them? That's a problem. That's a serious problem. And that's how come I feel that me and you always have this uphill battle with certain people, is because none of them have gone long enough to actually see the light. Yeah. It's almost like it's like rockets that never break through gravity, which is the hardest thing. The whole point of these engines on there is to get it through gravity. Because once you get through it, fucking sore, and it's nonstop. And like Lori said, it's to a point where it's clockwork. And even when I'm not making changes or changing up food, or I'm not even watching calories, I'm still seeing physical changes because the success of what I'm doing is compounding. It's continuing to do its job. I'm getting even more across the continuum from sickness
to fitness
to wellness to fitness.
Ooh.
Like most of you guys are still stuck in the sickness and you haven't even got to the wellness part yet to even go down that fucking fitness hill, which that is what I call, once you reach that, that's breaking through gravity. Because that's when everything just starts to just fall into place. And you're like, I've been doing this a year. How is it that I'm still getting great results?
Yeah.
You've been doing this a year with consistency. And like you said, you went from an 8 to a 0. You didn't start counting a bunch of calories. You definitely weren't starving yourself.
I'm never starving.
Exactly. And you didn't seem to hit any plateaus.
No.
So it's like,
I mean, now what's funny is like at 130, and being 0 is crazy because most women think you have to get like to 105, but it's that muscle to fat that means everything. And then if you're on the GLP-1, there's no judgment because we're not here to judge you. But we're also not going to lie to you and tell you you can still eat little amounts of shit food on it, because then you're missing the whole point of what you're trying to do. If you're not learning how to eat right, you're going to always be sick. And then once you're off it, because you can't stay on it forever, you're going to be eating fatter than when you started. You're going to gain back. So it's like, you take your GLP-1, but if you're not eating how we're telling you to eat, you're really setting yourself up for some big long-term problems.
Absolutely.
And so then the time you've spent doing it quickly turns into a really long, arduous task afterwards of gaining weight back and being miserable and vicious cycle. At some point, you have to break the cycle.
Exactly. You have to
have a big why. And there's no problem with just wanting to look good. No. It's, what I love is that I don't have to look in the mirror to see if I look fat anymore when I leave the house. Or ask someone, do I look fat in this? Because if you have to ask, you know you do.
No, you do.
Because every time I ask, do I look fat in this dress? I knew I did, and I just wanted to tend the line and be like, no, it's okay.
See, you already fucking know the truth. You already know.
We have to keep it real, or this is pointless talk.
Exactly. And I love that. You're like, I don't even ask that question anymore.
I know I don't look fat because I'm not fat at 130 with like top 98 percentile for VO2 max and body composition and psycho. I'm just saying, like that's mental illness. If I'm like, I'm still fat, then I have an eating disorder. And now I have to get the help for that. I need some therapy for that, right?
I would absolutely say that.
Need that, yeah.
Because the only person who even would be asking, like you said, that type of question is someone who isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing and they fucking know it.
Or they want someone to tell them it's okay.
Exactly.
Hey, I was making junior high, so I get eating disorders, right? Like, I'm not shitting on that. I'm just saying, like, that needs a certain kind of help. There's an underlying issue. But now at this age, I don't have to ask if I look fat or feel self-conscious because that's nonsense.
Exactly.
So we have arrived, right?
And I was going to say, and that's what Oprah basically does, is she gives people an excuse.
Yeah.
She gives them what they want. We all want a reason. Well, it's not your fault. It's your genes. It's not your fault. It's your mom's fault. It's your dad's fault. It's this fault. It's because this teacher
said the environment's fault.
It's the environment's fault. It's the sun's fault because the exact same sun that was up when Ramesses walked this earth and Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar, it's that sun's fault. The sun's been here longer than you, and it's going to be here longer than you, just like every other person that ever came here. It's nobody's fault. It's you not willing to do the things that you know you're supposed to do. That's what causes the anxiety. That's what causes you to talk and ask stupid questions about how you look. It's because you know you haven't done the things that allow you to feel confident in your own skin. When you do those things, the only question is, hey, should I take off the coat or leave it on? I don't know. Like, I'm more like, should I be showing more or not showing more? That's the mind. Like those are the questions that start to come up once the confidence grows and once you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's what's funny too, because this applies to businesses as well in any other aspect in your life. If you're sitting there wondering like, fuck, bro, is anyone gonna fucking do this? Is anyone gonna do that? It's like, well, look at yourself. What have you done to actually make it happen? Have you given everything? Have you fucking posted 3 reels every day for 90 days to freaking show I'm consistent? I am doing these things. Then you don't question it because you're like, no, I've fucking laid it all out. I don't have anything to question. And that's what happens. People don't want to do the work first. They want an excuse of why their life is the way it is. And there's no excuse. It's not some genes. It's you. It's always been you. Until you realize that and decide to get a divorce with your current level of thinking and actually change and become the person who you know you should be, that's what's going to get you to where you want to go. Not the GLP-1s, not this other bullshit. That's the truth. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to bring it home with talking about epigenetics, meaning that the genes express themselves based upon how you're living. Because even if you're like, I would imagine everyone will trust Oprah over us, even though she's been obese like 5 or 6 times with fad diets.
I love that too. Like she'll be
Still
on
has
her
not
fat as hell.
She should get a hold of Mythics, honestly, and then learn and then not need anything but the knowledge that she has, because knowledge is power. And so we're going to give you a little bit more on epigenetics, and we're going to use some cool analogies that I like too. So go ahead, take it away with what epigenetics is key for those who are feeling like they're destined to be obese.
All right. So epigenetics is key for those feeling like they're destined to be obese or have cancer or can't eat high saturated fats. A simple, empowering way to explain epigenetics is to focus on the idea that genes are not your destiny. They are more like instructions that can be turned up, down, or off by your daily choices. Oof. Yeah. That's huge. So your genes are like a piano. You're born with all the keys, but epigenetics is how you play the music. The genes are the keys that you're born with. Epigenetics is everything that decides which keys are played, how often, and how loudly. That is a great analogy.
That's a good one, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your food, your movement, your sleep, your stress, your environment, your mindset, those things don't change your DNA, but they change how your DNA behaves.
Yes.
I couldn't, like I said, this was summed up perfectly and put into layman's terms that everybody can understand and see the truth in it. That's
I like to simplify.
Yeah. Unarguable.
Probably because I don't know how to pronounce everything in big word. No, I'm kidding, but I always screw that up. Pronunciation. Okay, so this matters for health because 2 people can have the same gene, one of the ones we mentioned, or another shitty one that no one wants. One develops disease and one stays healthy. Is it because one doesn't pray and one's close to Jesus? No. It's nothing like that. It's not like the environment. It's not that you live in an unhealthy country like America versus a cleaner food source one like Italy. It's not that. It's because their lifestyle signals tell the gene to behave differently. So Ty and I run our DNA side by side and we highlight the genes we have in common. And then I fall off the bandwagon. I'm like, I don't want to be ketogenic anymore. I want to eat pizza and cupcakes and drink beer and watch football. I don't know. I don't do any of that. So maybe I do. And then all of a sudden, Ty's like still doing Ty things, being amazing and fit, looking fabulous. And then I'm looking round and my skin's broken out and I don't come to the barbell anymore and I belch a lot because I'm drinking beer. It's nasty. And they're like, well, what happened? What happened? Oh, I just started to live a different way because I got bored. So then all of a sudden I'm like, shit, I have autoimmune thyroid disease again. Maybe I get cancer. Maybe I don't work out anymore because I have so much inflammation. I can't bend my knees and I don't want to squat. These are the things that happen. Like how you live and what you eat. It's how the genes express themselves, right?
All encompassing.
So healthy eating can turn down the inflammation genes, right? Strength training can activate muscle building genes. Chronic stress can turn up fat storage and inflammatory genes. Quality sleep helps genes involved in repair and recovery, right? Yes. And I gave you this analogy.
So basically, genes load the gun and lifestyle pulls the trigger or keeps the safety on.
Boom.
I couldn't have said that better.
That's cool. Which Tim got a gun for his birthday. That's what we got him.
Oh, yeah?
Guns, fishing, and ammo is closing down.
Oh, I heard.
So they're out of ammo, but they were not out of guns. So there you go.
That's good.
Just the gun analogy. In case you want to buy him some bullets for his birthday. Yes. So epigenetics explains why daily habits more than genetic risk. It's true, right? You can do things, remove body parts, do stuff to avoid a big risk allele or SNP for a cancer. But what you do and how you live each day will determine if you don't get another cancer, right? Like, and you can still, it's
just fact. So let this be a reminder to stop using anything as an excuse. Like, honestly, there is not an obesity gene. Lori worrying that she was destined to be short, fat Italian, it was nonsense.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
I would use that though. I'd pull that card.
No, it's a good card because it's you being real and it's you talking about almost like it's you using the opposite of Oprah's story about, well, I was weighing myself at the Kmart and my dad said I was fat and all my mom was fat, and her sisters are fat, and so I'm just going to be fat. It's like you had that same voice in your head and chose not to listen to it.
Yeah.
And not just least like, no, I don't need to be that. I'm not going to live that life. So that's real. But it's the shared eating habits that were making you obese. Clearly,
100%.
the emotional ties to food were making you obese, guys. This is literally episode 55, and of the 54 that came prior, there's enough information that we put out here to help you guys to figure out what what it takes to get your body and your health right and the health that you want. But not only that, we're always here to help you cut through the noise and the propaganda that's out there.
Yeah.
Because there is so much that is telling you guys everything else. And you already know the information is bad if they're giving you an exterior excuse to latch onto, as opposed to somebody who's telling you, stop, take a breath, and look at your own life. Are you doing everything that you need to be what you want? And if you can honestly look and say no, that's where I would start prior to trying to just stick myself with something. I would be like, well, damn, bro, tell me what your last 3 days of meals were first. Let's start there. Yeah. Just like Lori did, solve somebody's problem instantly. That's what any doctor should probably start out with. That kind of simple question. Well, shit, tell me what you ate last week.
It's helping this because HHS wants to have so many hours of mandatory nutrition training. And I would be inclined to think that like what Netflix does through Broken Science would be the perfect training for doctors. Because people we know that work for Kaiser and stuff, they come to us for help, they take what we teach them and then they give it to their patients and get them off all their meds. They're not, we see this happen all the time. And it's not witchcraft.
And me and you have multiple clients from like Kaiser. I've had doctors, directors, everything up and down the board from them. And me and you have helped them more than probably Kaiser ever did.
Yeah. And then I hear from them, hey, I have 6 patients I'm helping with the flow carb that you taught me. Because for a lot of people, going from glucose dependence for energy into ketogenic is a hard road. But if we take them down to slow carbs, just a little bit of lentils added in here and there, cooked in bone broth stuff to just help them feel, full and have more energy until they just come off of that completely. And then they're naturally ketogenic. And they do that patient, and it's just like night and day. 9 medications down to 4, down to 0. And it's to each his own. But remember, you're not broken. You're not stuck. And you have real influence over your health and your outcomes and your weight and your longevity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have all of that.
You have all that. Stop letting people in rich industry positions tell you that, you need statins or you need blood pressure medication. No, you just need to learn what nutrition is. And you need to, there's no perfect exercise for anyone, but you need to get your ass moving. So 80% to 90% comes from food, but you need it. We're building muscle. We have to build muscle. We have to build muscle, right? We need good cholesterol to keep hormones balanced and help muscle production. It's all connected. And once you break that nut and you're like, okay, this is perfect. There's something look at what's inside this walnut shell. I got to the meat of it now. Let's go. Stuff. And then you can do the fast track. You can do 1 week at a time. Those small changes add up in a big way. And then eventually you're like Lori stats, where it's just like, we just do whatever it is. I don't think about it. I don't really think about it all. No. I'll have some ketogenic birthday cake though on Saturday. Mm-hmm. There you go. Why not? It's not because it's going to keep me, because after I finish advanced class, put stuff back in me and keep those ketones running high throughout the day. So yes, please don't keep using any more excuses like a fat gene or, there was that blue zone thing where the people in the blue zones live the longest. They're going to come out with like the gray zone. Oh yeah. These places are the unhealthiest, and people are going to like mass exodus these places as if that was actually ever it. That's what I was going to say. Bullshit. Just get down to real facts. Yep, right? Absolutely. So I was going to say that just for fun. Number one, so Lori said they're probably going to put something out eventually in the future where if you have these 3 things, then you probably have the fat gene, and that's going to be your reason to get on the GLP-1. So we just told you guys what's possibly coming.
watch out because you heard it here first. Like, no,
It's
this is serious stuff. Like,
no, it is.
you are gonna
Yeah.
see how they're going to continue to get everybody to start to stick themselves. They're going to come up with any justification that they can to get you to freaking stick yourself. They freaking try to get you guys to stick yourself all through 2020, and it didn't work. So now they're going to come up with a new way for you guys to stick yourself for something else.
Yeah.
So just be aware of what is coming to you. And then not only that, I'm going to end it with this one right here. I remember all through high school and all through most of my early life, people used to be like, dude, I'm so glad I don't have your genes. In the same exact time, in this current point in my life, people say, well, if I had your genes, I look like you.
Excuses.
Fucking excuses, dude, because you guys have no clue what my genes really were. I come from Negroids, freaking slave fat people. You don't know what I had to overcome to reach this point. Believe me, my genes are shit. I made them work.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
You can too.
That's
All right, stay classy till episode 56.